Hello, and thank you for joining me in my presentation on the social penetration theory, or also known as SPT. Today I'll be giving an overview on the social penetration theory by using examples, applying to a real-life situation, and explaining how this theory can be used to improve our relationships. Let's get started. To begin, the social penetration theory is the idea that the more we share information with somebody and the deeper the relationship becomes, the more we bond with that person. More broadly, social penetration is the process of moving a relationship from surface level to intimate. We can look at social penetration like an onion. For example, an onion has layers, and so does the process of social penetration. In interpersonal relationships, we peel back each other's layers through frequent interaction. The first layer is the superficial layer, or shallow information such as our favorite music, our favorite foods. Next, the middle layers make up our view on politics and social attitudes such as the belief that men shouldn't wear dresses, for example. Then we get to the inner layer, or our religious values, deepest fears, goals, dreams, and aspirations. Finally, the core personality makes up one's most personal and deepest secrets. We should also talk about the breadth and depth of interaction within relationships. Breadth is the range of topics discussed, while depth is the degree of intimacy within interactions. For example, breadth would be the number of topics discussed such as family, hobbies, interests, or your professional life. Depth describes the level of intimacy these topics reach, such as family problems, work-related stress, or aspirations in detail. To summarize, breadth and depth are like a roadmap to how the relationship develops. For relationships to continue to develop, there must be a consistent exchange of information. This is where we introduce the norm of reciprocity, or the idea that when a person discloses personal information, the responder should disclose something at the same level of intimacy to maintain the norm. For example, I tell you that my mother passed away when I was a child. You share with me that your brother passed away when you were young. Of course, this type of personal information doesn't have to be shared, but doing so would establish a stronger connection within the relationship. So how would this look in a real-life situation? First, an example of the superficial layer. We strike up a conversation with somebody online at a coffee shop. We both share that we go to Ball State. We might share our favorite coffee drink, how often we go to the coffee shop, and our favorite barista. Next, we both realize that we are going to drink our coffee at the coffee shop. One person asks if they would like to sit and continue the conversation over coffee. As the superficial layer fades, we start peeling back our middle layer. We start to talk about things like our political views and social groups we identify with. At the end of our conversation, we exchange numbers or social media and keep in touch. One person texts the other and asks if they would like to go on a date or do something fun if it is not romantic. After a while, and after a strong level of trust has been established, we start to confide in the other person our inner layer. We share intimate information like our spiritual affiliations, deepest fears, and our life goals. Finally, we realize that we want to marry this person, or we've agreed to be best friends if it isn't a romantic relationship. We've established a concrete foundation of trust and intimacy. Consequently, we then feel comfortable enough to share our deepest and most personal secrets that very few, if any, know. How can the social penetration theory be used to improve our communication? Social penetration theory is a great way to gauge the breadth and depth of our relationships. Think of 5 different family members or friends. You've probably established a different level of intimacy with each person. Furthermore, now that we understand social penetration theory at a conceptual level, we can now utilize this information as we move along in our relationships. In conclusion, we established what the social penetration theory is by giving definitions and examples such as looking at SPT like an onion with layers. We also touched on important concepts related to SPT, such as the breadth and depth of interactions that we use to gauge relationships, and the norm of reciprocity. Next, we establish a real-life scenario using SPT and how it can be used to improve our communication within relationships. Thank you for listening.